Hi, Heidi. How you doing today?
Good. How are you doing, Pam?
Good. What are we talking about?
We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics today, and that's actually approvals. Have you used approvals yet?
We're using approvals. We actually got it in GCC a while ago, and it was a super exciting day when that happened. And we use it. We use it quite a bit, primarily with Power Automate.
Awesome. It's a really versatile topic, and it has a lot of integrations into the whole M365 stack. So I'm excited to talk about it today. I've got a lot of content. So why don't we actually go hop over to my screen share here, and we can take a look at how to use these approvals. So the first thing is, I should have defined it though. What is an approval technically? So an approval is really just an electronic way of signing off on something. It's a way for you to say, I need this document signed off on. I need to send it to this person, and then I want to be able to track that that was done. I want some sort of audit trail or some formalized, method of sending them something to sign off on. So it's really just like an actionable task. And what's great is that Microsoft has put out approvals, which integrates in a lot of the different tools that you're using every day. So, for example, we're going to start in Teams, and let's take a look at how we first add in that approvals app. So, getting started here, if you go down to the apps on the left side, and then you can search for approvals in here, and then the app will come up. I've already got it added into the Teams here, so I'm just going to come over here and you'll see this approvals app. So what you're looking at right now is actually a roll-up of all the approvals that are assigned to this user here, this Nestor user. So if you look on the screen here, you'll see a priority column. So you can send high priority approvals, which are indicated by that exclamation point there. There's like a nice request title, so you can label what the approval is for. An actionable task is for. You probably want to see something like policy review or PTO request or something like that, so that the user knows what is uh, expected of them just by looking at that title. And then we've got a status column, so you can see the items that are approved, rejected, or requested. So you can easily see with the color coding there what's approved and what still is needed from you. And then the source. So this one is actually where did this approval originate from? So you'll see this approvals app here. That means that that actually originated from the one that I created in Teams. So I created this approval request, which I'll show you, and the source of it was in Teams. This one I actually created from Power Automate. So I used a Power Automate flow to leverage that approvals connector. And I thought it would put Power Automate in here, which I was surprised that it didn't. So that's what the source column is there. You can see when that approval was created, who it was sent by, and who it's sent to. So me, as Nestor here, I am looking at all the approvals that I've received. You can see here in the top left, those are the received ones. And then I can also click this and I can see the approvals that I have sent out. So this is a bad example because I'm using Nestor to send and receive, but this will normally look different based on the approvals that you've sent out and then also the ones that you have received.
Yeah, this view is actually one of my favorite things about approvals because you don't have to go look for your approvals anymore. Yeah, you've got them all listed right there in one place.
Exactly. We kind of glazed over that with the source, but the source is really how powerful that is. If you are in your organization, you're getting approval requests from like PTO requests or policy reviews or any sort of process that is automated using that approvals connector from any Power Automate flow or any other source, everything is here. So it is truly a roll up of everything that's assigned to you. And it's also nice because you can get back to this at any time, really. You don't have to keep those emails that were sent to you to sign off on things. And you can always just come out here and have this actionable dashboard of all these things that are assigned to you.
Yeah, so that's another good point is what happens if you don't have the Teams app or you're not in front of your computer?
So the approvals, you can configure the notifications so that you can send them via email. They work great with the mobile app on your phone to really any
Mhm.
device. They're very versatile and with zero customization.
Yeah,
And
excellent.
the other thing that I want to point out here too is there's this export feature. So right now I'm looking at everything that's assigned to me. This is going to fill up rather quickly. So if I get a lot of things assigned to me, I can actually, if I want to produce some sort of report, I can click on this export, and then it will allow you to export date or ranges of approvals that were assigned to you. And a nice little audit trail if you're looking for something like that. All right. So now we see what, how to find the approvals. How do we actually create one? So right here on the top right, let's just do a new approval request. So here you'll see a couple different options. There's the basic request, there's the e-sign, which that will definitely be another topic that we'll talk about another day because we don't want to glaze over those. There's the org wide, and then there's some other the sales and marketing is a template, and we're going to look at the templates later. But I want to focus on two things here. I want to show you the basic request, and then I also want to show you the templates that are below there. So let's click on basic request. So all you need to do here is give your request a name. So like I mentioned policy review earlier, if I've got a document I need someone to sign off on, I'm just going to call this policy review. And then here is the approvers. So if I toggle this, I can actually do multiple approvers, and I can assign the order that they respond in there. So I can continue to add approvers here, or if I just want one single approver, I'm just going to put name in here. And then here's the priority. As if you do the important, it'll show up with that red exclamation point. So I'm just going to keep this normal priority. And then in here in the details, I could just put some personal note in, like, please approve before I send for board approval. So then in here, you can add an attachment. So if you want to attach like the actual document that is needing to be reviewed, you can click on that add attachment here. Otherwise, you can do attach a link. So let's say that your document is stored in SharePoint, or then you can actually include a link to that document that does need to be signed off on. And I'm just going to leave the attachments blank for now. Other couple options here is the custom responses. So by default, this approval task will send to the user and it will say approve or reject. Those are the two out of the box responses. If you want to toggle this, you can do that and put in things like, like yes, yes, no, maybe like approve with contingencies. Sometimes people do that. And then they'll actually note the contingencies in the comments field. So that's the custom responses. And then there's the send to another environment. So without going into too many details about what an environment is. All of these Teams approvals go to the actual default environment. So if you want to send this to a different environment, you can toggle that, and then it will give you a drop-down choice of the choices of the different environments that you can send it to. So I'm going to actually submit this so you can see this happen. This is very quick. And what this is doing is it's creating that task, and it's going to send Nestor a notification that something is assigned to him. So you'll notice that I got a notification on the bottom right that I have an approval assigned to me. I also shows up in my activity feed here. And when I click on that, it opens the actual approval dialog box here. So I can see that this is a policy review. These are those personal comments that I put in on the task. And then I can see the status. So that's kind of nice if you have multiple approvers. You can see where it is in the flow of approval there. So I only have one approver, so this is requested by Nestor and it's pending response. So now I can add some comments in, like, and then I can approve. There are some more actions here, like canceling, reassigning, etc. if you want to do that. So I'm just going to go ahead and approve so you can see what happens here. So I didn't even point it out, but that changed from requested to approved. And then you'll see that Nestor got another notification that his request was approved. And now we can actually click on this and see the whole trail that happened. So I see it's approved and I can see all that. I don't know where his comments went though. Maybe that's those comments that I entered on here. Let's check in the notification and see if it, oh, here it is. So here's those comments that the approver entered, and they go directly back to the individual then. So that at very basic is what an approval is. So this can be cumbersome. Like this is great for ad hoc. If you want to do something real quick and you want to reach someone, in like I mentioned, in those apps that they use every day. Like if I have a document that I want someone to approve, maybe I don't want to send it via email because sometimes email becomes black hole for people and it gets lost forever. So I can just quickly throw together this approval task, and then I have a nice little, you know, audit trail of when it was actually approved, and also that approver has that roll up of all those things that are assigned to them. It's very easy to find. But ad hoc can get, what if I just want something that I want to use like a template? I want to keep reusing this. So we're going to look at those next. Down here, there is the learn how to create templates. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I've got a couple already in play here, but let's click on that and take me to create the template. So with the templates, there's actually a whole bunch of starter ones that are out here. So let's click on view more. They've broken them down by category here. There's probably if you want to use a template, it's probably already out here, honestly. So I'm just going to click on this enter office one. And what this is doing is saying, all right, here's the fields that I think you want on your approval template. So probably if I'm going to request to go work in the office for the day, I probably want a date, the reason I'm going to be there, and then just any sort of comments in general. So let's click next. The nice thing now is that I can apply this to the whole organization. I can apply it to specific people, or I can actually tie it to just a team. So if I'm tracking, like when I come into the office for my team, I can just do this team wide, and then that's only available to my team to use for that template. So let's do that. And then I go ahead and choose which team to apply this to. So I'm going to do the retail team. And now we're still going through the setup here. So I chose my template, and now it's going to take me to the actual setup of the approval itself. So the basic settings, I can give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as enter office. I can put it under the category, which you saw on before when it was broken down by categories, and I could put a description. So this is the cool part now. This is the form design. So there's the fields there that like the date to go into the office, but this interface should look familiar. So this is actually the Microsoft Forms interface. So I can click on this and I can do some customization with that field. I can, just like you can in Microsoft Forms, I could put a subtitle there. I can add additional fields if I want to my approval. I can move it up and down the field reordering. So, and I can add additional things. So this is, again, the Microsoft Forms designer interface, but I'm just
Nice.
going to leave it as is. That should be something that people are familiar with because it's very easy to use. It's been integrated into Microsoft Lists as well. So it's kind of popping up everywhere around there. All right, last thing is you can do file attachments, that whole multi-level approvals, you can do that. I'm just going to keep it simple and leave it as one, those custom responses, and then you can also require comments so that they have to respond. So let's take a look at what that looks like. So this is exactly like it should look very similar to the blank one that I did before. So I'm going to publish it, and then I'm going to show you how to get back to that so we can actually utilize that approval. So now let's just go back to, my approvals here. So I'm on my approvals. I'm going to go click on new approval request. And then here is that retail one that tied to the retail team. And I should have the enter office request. I'm not going to put one in because it's the exact same as before, but this is where you would enter all that information and send that off. So that is really the template approach to this. So it's like, I like how it's reusable. I like how that you can tie it to different, the team or specific users or for the whole organization. I think that this is great and that Microsoft has come up with those templates of those commonly used scenarios so you don't have to actually start from ground zero there. So that's kind of what I've got for approvals. There are some limitations that go along with any of the Microsoft products. So I did want to talk about that a little bit. But what do you think, Pam? Like you said, you're using these in the org. Like, what's your experience with these?
So, we are using approvals, but yeah, we primarily use them through Power Automate. And I had not looked at the templates, so that was super cool. I appreciate seeing that.
Yes, they're great. I do think so. What I did glaze over to is if you go to, so we saw the roll up of the approvals there. If you go to the Power Automate site and click on approvals on the left side, you'll actually see those requests out there too. So it's cool that I like it that you can get to them anywhere. I like it that it'll pop up those notifications in either the Power Automate app on your phone or the Teams app on your phone. Like there is no reason that you shouldn't respond to these approvals because they're right in your face everywhere that you're working. So
yeah, you also get reminders if you don't approve them. So if you miss the email, you don't pay attention to your activity, which I mean, sometimes I don't. So, just being able to go look, it's all in one place. And if I've missed something else, I can see everything there. So
Exactly.
if I've been
They
offline for a few days, I can catch up quickly.
Yeah, very easily. The one
Yeah.
thing that we should also warn people is the approvals themselves last forever, but the
Yes.
flow runs, and if it's a tie to any flow, which is kind of outside the scope of this conversation, but if you do tie an approval to a Power Automate run, that run expires at 28 days. So
Yes.
as you're building out these approval processes, be mindful that the whole process behind the approval itself will time out at 28 days. And I think that's a great lead into another episode that we should maybe do and looking
Uh,
into some of those timeouts and limits. So
yeah, absolutely. This was awesome. Good
awesome.
times.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.